Welcome to Joe Traveler Media Academy. My name is Lola Akinmade Orchestrum, and I am an award-winning travel photographer, Asoblad heroine, and visual storyteller. And so every month, I'm going to be running live photo reviews, which means you can send in your photos and I can take a look at them within an hour and provide feedback and also show you ways you can take your photo from good to great. And so those of you that have already sent in photos, thank you so much. Super excited, looking forward to going through them and now and then giving my feedback. But this idea came about because I take people around the world on photography experiences, from Mongolia to Croatia to northern Sweden to kind of go chasing the northern light, right? And this is one of their favorite parts of the workshops is when we actually get together in class and go through all their photos, the best photos they've shot the day before. We all kind of critique with love and then show how we can improve on. All right. And so now I'm going to be reviewing 6 photos that have come in before the deadline. Obviously, we couldn't get to the photos after the deadline. And so I can't wait to go through these and then kind of just offer some constructive feedback. All right. So the first photo we'll be looking at is from Eliza, and it says the otherwise quiet town of Chichicastenango in Guatemala comes alive for the Fiesta de San Tomas. The week-long celebration is a fusion of Maya and Christian traditions. The old town is thick with the sweet, smoky aroma of copal and a pine-based incense, while the sound of marimba resounds from dusk till dawn. It is a riot of colors and sounds. Revelers dressed in brightly hued traditional costumes parade around town, dancing, praying, and setting off loud fireworks. I mean, this is just a really beautiful sensory description of this photo. And so you can see in this photo just the colorful, vibrant costumes they're wearing. And while I love the color and the vibrancy of this photo, there's some things we can do to actually make it stronger, right? So right away, just going there and cropping out just kind of this portion and kind of focusing on the guy already kind of makes the photo stronger, right? Because the background is too busy and it kind of takes away from what's going on. But what would have made this photo, taking it to the next kind of step, is if the subject was looking at Eliza, right? Because when the subject is looking at you, then you're actually focused on that connection and you don't worry as much about the background. So that's another way to kind of hide a messy background is when the subject in the photo is actually looking at the photographer. And so I have some examples to kind of show where, festivals are beautiful places to photograph, just the colors, the vibrancy, the people you can meet there. And so here are some examples. So this is an example from South Africa where, again, you don't really worry about the background because you can see you're connecting with the subject. You're looking straight into his eyes, right? And so this is what maybe Eliza could have done is shoot that guy from different angles, really get closer to him, interact with him. Yeah. So another example from Morocco. Again, you can see the background is quite busy here. But here you can see just because I'm interacting with that guy, your focus is drawn towards him. So in fact, I could easily kind of crop out the other guy next to him or make it just even a little bit of a tighter shot, right? And then you get something different. But really, even with this guy there, it doesn't take away from the photo because you've already got that lovely interaction with the subject. So that's one way of kind of ignoring a busy background that you really don't have control over, right? Because festivals are so boisterous, you really can't pose your subjects or move them around. And then another thing Eliza could do was actually just change the vantage point. So what she could do is just get a little bit lower, right, than the reveler, the guy at the festival, and then just shoot from down up a little bit at him. And then you get a more kind of interesting angle. And so this is one in Munich where shooting from that angle also creates a little bit of drama around the subject. And I'm sure Eliza shot lots of beautiful photos around the festival. But again, just what's going on? How are they moving? Are they moving differently? It will give the viewer a sense of just how vibrant the festival is, right? So going back to Eliza's photo, again, just kind of cropping, making sure that there is, I wish there was that kind of connection, eye contact. And then I think one thing I did here was I actually added a little bit of vignetting. So the original was this, and then I just kind of added a little bit of vignetting, and I increased the contrast a little. So it was 0 right here, and I just kind of popped it up a bit. So it kind of pops a little bit from the background, right? Not that much, right? Yeah. So a little bit. So thank you so much, Eliza, for sending this. I think just this photo, just by cropping it a little bit, changing the vantage point. I don't know if you have a lot more here, or maybe you cropped it, but that would also be a nice, you know, um, uh, just to see what's kind of on the left of this photo. All right. Perfect. So let's take a look at Julie's photo. So Julie says, this is Julie fabulous at 44. And yes, Julie is fabulous. And what is really interesting about this photo is just all the light sources behind Julie that can be used to create an even stronger and even more fabulous photo, right? Where you can see the light streaming here from this window, already creating beautiful patterns on this table, patterns here. So you can imagine just moving Julie where she's maybe sitting and resting against this table, and then shooting from the left towards Julie. You can get some really beautiful light patterns on Julie. And one of the things I always say is when you're traveling and photographing strangers, once you've gotten their consent, it's okay for you to move them, right? It's okay for you to move them from where they're standing if that's not a great spot, because as a travel photographer, you're always chasing light. So you're always chasing beautiful natural light, golden hour, the blue hour, even ash midday sun, because that can create some beautiful shadows, right? So with Julie, whoever was photographing Julie needed to kind of move Julie towards the light, maybe pose her a little bit and just use a lot of all that natural light, right? And so I'll give you some examples here. So this is a photo of a woman that was shot in Uzbekistan, and she's the wife of a shepherd I met there in Uzbekistan. And this was, again, really simple, just telling her to please step by the window. The rest of the room was a bit dark. But by having her kind of next to the window, I could get just kind of that beautiful natural light on her, right? And this one shot in Nigeria, even though she wasn't inside, she's kind of out by the door. So you could actually get Julie to come closer to the door, have some of that natural light come as well to play across her face and her body. So, and this is another one. This was shot in Wales, and super, super easy by just having him sit close to a window, right? And the rest of the room is kind of dark. So you can also do that. But just having him by the window brings a lot of that lovely natural light in. And here, this is an example, again, of a photo of a police officer in San Marino, having them by the source of light. So that's what I would suggest for Julie's photo is that, yes, Julie is fabulous. Capture all that fabulousness by posing her in the best place where light can flood her face as well, right? So the next photo we have is from Christina, and this was shot in Vietnam, and it's an apple snail festival on the Mekong Delta, Vietnam. First of all, this is a really beautiful atmospheric shot. I really like that you're kind of shooting kind of through the action to make that connection with the subject. Now, what makes this photo strong is because the subject has not only connected with you and seen you, but I can also see in his disposition that he has given you non-verbal permission to take the photo. So as a travel photographer who spends a lot of time photographing people, I can tell right away in the shot if there's been really good verbal, non-verbal communication or permission granted. So right here, yes, you might have been going around sneaking shots, but in this moment, you connected with this guy, is giving you that it's all right to take my photo. So this is what makes this photo really beautiful. Now, this is one of the things I love about black and white. I shoot color. I love color. I am all about color. But black and white is a lot, it's very forgiving when you have a shot like this with kind of colors all over the place and can feel messy. Again, it's a strong shot, but it can feel a bit messy, you know. And with this, you can see all the dirt here, and the photo can just feel quite not well created, even though we've got the beautiful connection. And so with a shot like this, what I will do is go quickly and see, okay, what will this look like in monochrome, right? You can see already in monochrome, right, that you do not notice the dirtiness of this right away. So you see, if I go here in color, you can see this can be distracting, even though it's real life. Absolutely, you want to capture the slice of life, you know, but then that can also be distracting. But if you switch it to monochrome, it's still all there, but you can see the guy pops. And with something like this, I might, let me see, I don't want to trim it too much, just maybe a little tiny touch of a trim, just like that, a little bit, right? You see that? Just a tiny crop, just took a little bit and made it more in focus. And then with this, I'll probably, let me see, just kind of boost the contrast a little bit, or let's see, maybe the blacks. So it pops out a little bit more, right? So you can see. But that's what I will actually do to this photo. Is I will, even though I'm known for for color, I will actually switch this to black and white because it makes the photo just a lot stronger, as you can see, right? So I'm gonna make a duplicate of this. Let's say create a virtual copy. So you see the black and white, and then I'm gonna revert the settings of the color. So you can see this is the color version, and this is the black and white version. You can see just by very little tweaks, you can take a photo from good to much to better or stronger, right? So really lovely shot. I really like this, Chris. Well done on this photo. And so what I had was, again, shooting through things. This was kind of one shot in Wales, and this was in China. But again, shooting through, you can create some really lovely compositions as well. All right, so the next submission we're going to take a look at is from Leah, and this is the night view of Singapore City. So again, really crisp, really lovely shots of Singapore. And I mean, you can never really go wrong with night shots once they're sharp, right? But I am a big fan of isolation, meaning instead of shooting everything, how about you isolate like a single source of light, right? So a single light source, isolate that, or a little bit of a block of light and isolate that, because then it can make the photo more dramatic, right? So with this shot, what I will do is, first of all, you can see it's kind of, the buildings are leaning towards the left. And so what we can do is we can already kind of correct that. And so let me see if it's going to correct. Let me see if it's going to auto correct that. So you see right away, if you've never used this, Lightroom does as a great transformation tool that can allow you to quickly reposition and make sure that the horizon is right. So when I turn this off, let's see, off, you can see the difference, right? So it kind of already quickly fixes that for you with Lightroom. And then with this shot, what I will do, even though it's a lovely shot, what I will do is I'm going to look into seeing if I can actually crop it, right? And create something more fine arty, right? So you can see that you can, and let me see if I can transform it a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. Where's the transformation? There we go. So this is just transforming just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. But you can see right there. This is what I'll do with this image. Just create something a little bit different, focusing on isolating these particular buildings because they're quite pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a virtual copy of this and revert to the original. So let's reset that. I can see the original. Again, it's lovely, but this is what I'll do, right? Just kind of crop and focus on these. So, but really lovely shot of Singapore. And I think with this, it's a matter of experimenting and shooting and changing your vantage point, maybe getting lower so the buildings are kind of up this way. So I'm going to show you some examples that I have with night shots, right? So, for example, this is one in Japan. Again, isolation. This is another one, isolating, right? So it creates a little bit more drama in the photo. Focusing on a single light source, a dramatic light source, again, can create, and this is the blue hour in Budapest, but again, that can create a little bit of drama. And then this is an example from Italy, where you can see, again, night shots, but you can see the source of light. So you can see, oh my goodness, those are, monks or priests, or there's some kind of procession going on. So again, just isolating and just really focusing tightly instead of capturing the whole thing. And then something that's also fun for night photography is slowing your shutter speed. So you can see there is a procession and a stream of people coming, but the shutter speed, let me see how slow. Let me take a look at my settings here. Before. So let me go back here and I can find the settings because I'm super curious. If I add it in here, you know what? This is not the original. I actually exported it out. Exported it out without the lens profile. Yeah, so I didn't put it there. But this is definitely a slow shutter speed. So you can see it's probably like a 20 second or something, but you can see that and the light. So that can create some really fun night shots as well, slowing down your shutter speed. All right, so well done on that. Well done. And then let's see. So this is from, let's see. So this is from Robert, and this is a child chasing bubbles in the town square in Portugal. So now, children photography is actually the hardest form of portrait photography while you're traveling, because chances are that child is a stranger. You have to get permission from their parents. You have to then interact with that child, right? And you usually have a few seconds, so it can be quite challenging. What I love about this shot is just kind of the pure joy that you can see. I love that his feet, you can see it's kind of like he's levitating off the ground. Really beautiful shot. I think with this one is one where you can even zoom closer, right? And let me see. So what I love about the shot again is the boy, the shoes, the really big bubble. The problem is it's shot so tightly that there's not enough space to maneuver, right? So this would have been a shot where if Robert got closer to the ground and maybe shot the boy or kind of moved around a little bit to get some of these elements away. Because it's shot so tightly, even when I try to crop that person out, you can see the boy is really, really, really tight, right? So this is one where, again, it's tricky to kind of save this shot, but I love the joy. I love the joy. And I think the advice will be next time in a shot like this, even though it's really super spontaneous, the bubble isn't really going to bust right away. It's a really big one. It's probably playing with it for a couple more seconds. So just kind of move around a little bit, be more agile around the kid, maybe get lower, right? So I'm going to show you some examples because, let's see. So with kids, because kids can be quite tricky to photograph, right? And, catching them at play look at how busy this shot is, super busy. But your eyes are first drawn to the kids and then to the direction they're going, right? And then you look around and like, where is this place? This is in Nepal. But again, spending time isolating, but also anticipating what the kid is going to do. So this is in Peru. And I saw the kid jumping around, running around in the village. And I saw him and I knew he was going to come across this stretch of wall. And so I just waited until he came. But you can see also the difference is, or the location is, you can see I'm kind of squatted down. And I'll show you some examples about why that is important. So again, eye level with the kids, because the more you're lower at the kids' level, the more comfortable they'll be with the photo, or you trying to take their photo. You want to be kind of down at their level, just down at their level. And this is an example I'll show you from Cambodia. So you can see the boy looks concerned. He looks scared. I look like an authority figure shooting from this angle. But just by coming down to his level and looking him in the eye and coming down, the kid feels a lot more comfortable, right? So, and of course, I had taken permission from, his guardians to take. I always take permission from the guardians when I see kids that I want to photograph. I never just approach a kid that's by themselves, right? But this is an example of showing that just changing your vantage point, especially with kids, makes a big difference. They don't feel as threatened, all right? So I really love that photo. I just love the energy in the photo of this. It's really pretty. And I just kind of cropped a little bit of this end, but it's still too tight. So let me just put it back in. Yeah, let's put it back in. Trying to see what more we can do with this. Yeah, no, it's cropped really tight. So there's not much, we can do because there's just so much going on in the background. And this is a situation where if we had changed the vantage point a little bit, maybe get lower, because once you get lower, then this shot will be shooting more towards the sky or towards the building, and then you're not going to see as many people there. Because once you're shooting kind of upwards, then you're going to see a lot more above the kid, the trees, the sky. All right. And let's see. And then we've got one more shot. And this shot is from Stephanie. And this is a landscape shot. I think she says these are the mountains in the Dolomites, right? And I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because Dolomites, Dolomites, I might be pronouncing it wrong. But yeah, again, beautiful kind of landscape shot. What this shot needs is just a little bit more editing, right? So something like this, I would, let's see, just pop the contrast, maybe bring back the highlights. See, just even bringing back the highlights. You see, this is what it was. Bringing back the highlights already adds some color, maybe dropping the shadow a little bit, you can see. And then just adding a bit of saturation. You see, just adding a bit of saturation in there, and then making the photo a little bit warmer. Let's do that. Just a little bit warmer, maybe up the tint a little bit. I mean, right, just by editing can already change the feeling of a photo. So this was, let me clear this out. So this was what it was before. And this was it, just slightly edited. And you can see it already kind of makes the photo pop a little bit. And that wasn't much. It was just by very minor edits. All right. But one thing about shooting landscapes that I'm always advocating is scale. We need to find something that's going to give us a sense of scale. Because right now, we don't know if this is just weeds on the balcony right here, then overlooking a forest and then the mountains. If these are trees, these we can't tell because there's nothing to show us scale. Yes, we know these are the big trees in the background, but what's this foreground? We don't know, right? And so one thing I always advocate for landscapes, if you can, is to always insert something, life. It could be an object. All right. So I was looking at some samples, that I've taken kind of similar to uh, what Stephanie took. So again, this is just with light editing. It can make the photo pop. But with this, you can see scale. So you see the runners in the foreground. That gives us a sense of scale. So we know, oh my goodness, just how big these mountains are, right? So obviously, I don't know the situation where Stephanie was when she was taking the shot, but if there was something where you could look around, see what's going on, if there was a cottage, something, just to give the landscape a sense of scale, right? And again, same thing right here. You can see there's a road kind of cutting through, or like maybe train tracks, but that gives it a sense of scale as well, right? So, so yeah, I just want to say, thank you all so much for sending your photos. This was fun. I loved seeing your photos. I love kind of discussing them, taking a look at them, seeing how we can make them better. But this is something I'm going to be doing every month, right? Just for an hour, I'm going to do it, and hopefully it's going to be valuable to you. But yes, so thank you again so much. And hope to see you again next month with some new photos. I would love to see kind of your progression. And for those who are interested, I've got some incredible photo experiences already planned. So in September, we're going to the Balkans. We're going to be in Montenegro, in Bosnia Herzegovina, in Croatia. So definitely sign up. We're going to be chasing the Northern Lights again in January and February in Sweden. So two experiences. One of them is almost sold out. So definitely sign up. And then in July, back to Mongolia again, one of my favorite countries. So hopefully you can join me in Mongolia. So all that information is, in this course at the top of this page, so you can always check it out. But yeah, so thank you once again. Thanks for sticking through our first technical issues. But by next month, we'll all have all the kinks worked out. And yeah, thanks for sending your photos and keep shooting. Well, keep creating. I don't like that's one word as a photographer. I don't like shooting, but we say keep creating. I'd love to see your photos. Thank you so much. Have a great one.